Well, welcome and good morning. I am honored to be here. I really appreciate it. And I just hope you can feel the love coming your way, because I feel it coming back and I really appreciate it. With the rash of thunderstorms that we had earlier and the oppressive heat we had, it started me thinking that because we live in Kentucky, we've learned, most of us, how to deal with extreme weather. Whether it's summer thunderstorms or winter snowstorms, just look at the grocery aisles right before. And then I happened to think, yeah, we're pretty good at that, and am I as that well equipped to weather the storms of life? And what can I do to increase my capacity to deal with life when storms come? So slide 1, please. We're going to talk today. I'm going to invite you to invest a little sweat equity and ask yourselves, is your spiritual foundation up to code? Is it time to invest a little sweat equity in your spiritual practices? Or are the ones that have been your mainstay from the beginning still working fine for you? And that's wonderful. And are there any tools out there that you might want to add to your toolbox? Sometimes when I'm traveling, I don't use the same tools as I do when I'm home, because I don't have my quiet little sacred space and there could be kids running around. So when I'm traveling, I fall into more of a gratitude practice. But whatever it is, your spiritual practices are transportable and adaptable, and it's a good thing to remember that. We can each build a strong spiritual home by integrating the foundation of Unity's 5 principles. And I'm going to do it the easy way because I love the kids' way. The 5 principles are: God is, I am, I think, I pray, and I act. So we've got the foundation laid when we can integrate or even partially integrate those into our lives. And we have to remember that each of us is responsible for our own spiritual journey. That means we are not going to be fed a menu of what we need or what you're told to believe, because you're going to do that exploration yourself. You're responsible for what you believe based on your discernment. What is your truth? And when I say this, I am very sincere. If any part of this talk resonates with you, feel free to take it and make it your own. And what doesn't, let it fall on the floor and we'll sweep it away later. Because it's different for every single person. You'll know it when something speaks up in your spiritual center and you know that that is your truth. You will have emotions around it. You'll have a sense about it. You will know. And I know for me, I've listened to things at different points in my spiritual journey that at first didn't make any sense, but 5 years into that, I'm like, oh, that's what that meant. And that's okay, because we're all in different places. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the way it is. And love yourself wherever you are. I really appreciated Lavina's talk on spiritual intelligence. And I learned it on YouTube. Did y'all know this? That you can turn on the word, you can turn it on so you can read the words. You turn on the transcript and you can read it as well as listen. But I loved her talks because for me, what that means is living authentically this is a real simple explanation, is when my insides match my outsides and I'm living my highest good. And some days I'm better at that than others. Some days I need a little retraining and pausing and just being. And I want to share something with you too. There are so many resources out there, and you all could give me just as many as I could possibly give you. But I went to Unity Village years ago, and I think it was Kathy Schmidlin and Reverend Gwen, and we went to Robert Brumet, I don't know how to say his name, Brumet. His book is called Living Originally. It's 10 spiritual practices to transform your life. And it's so good. It is so good. And I loved Wayne Dyer, who Lavina mentioned. Whatever it takes, whatever speaks to you, do that. And I guarantee you, you'll continue to change as you grow spiritually and gain more spiritual intelligence. Now, I know that the universe has a great sense of humor, because this was the visual that came to mind during meditation when I asked for guidance for today's talk. Next slide, please. How many years, do you all even remember this, the 3 little pigs story? Well, it's been a long time since I've even thought about it. So that's how come I knew it really wasn't from me. It was a help. You know, one little pig built a house out of straw, and another one of sticks, and the third one used bricks. And what happened? A wily old wolf came along and blew down the 2 unsubstantial ones, but the one brick one stood firm. And then I remembered, immediately followed by that vision, was a visual. And it was of a Sunday school song. If you remember the one, now I came from a traditional spiritual background, and we sang about the foolish man building his house up on the sand and the wise man building his house upon a rock. And when the result of the rain and floods, the house upon the sand came tumbling down, and we love that part of the song, came tumbling down. But the house on the rock stood firm. Well, that song came from the Bible verse about Jesus sharing this in a parable. In Luke chapter 6, verses 47 through 49, Jesus said, "Every man who comes to me and hears my words and does them, I will show you what he is like. He is like a man who built a house and dug deep and laid its foundation upon the rock. And when the flood came, it beat upon that house and could not shake it, for his foundation was laid upon a rock. And he who hears and does not act is like a man who built his house on the earth without a foundation. And when the river beat against it, it fell immediately, and the fall of that house was great." Well, being responsible for your own spiritual growth takes effort. Well worth it. It takes wisdom and downright tenacity sometimes. And it's what I call spiritual sweat equity. Well, when I got ready for this talk, I started going with my own memory. What are the things that helped me along? What are the tools that I used? And while I was stumbling along doing that, this thought, which I'm sure was a helper, said, maybe you ought to check unity.org. They might have something there. Well, lo and behold, there is a whole website on spiritual tools and practices, and you can access that as well. So we're going to share just a few of these here with you today. Sorry, I'm not supposed to turn my head or you can't hear me. Well, there's a number of time and experience tested tools which will support us during our efforts. For those of you who are new to this community, and to those of you who have been unitics for quite some time, I invite you to explore a few of these tools with me, because even I was surprised that there were some there that I wasn't aware of. Now, it's important to note, this is going to be like a little sampler, an hors d'oeuvre kind of a meal, because some of these topics could be a workshop or a class on their own. But it might be enough to pique your interest and see if it's something that you're interested in or not. Just remember, there isn't one size fits all, and only you hold the key to figuring it out for yourself to find out what works for you. One of the first things you're going to notice is you won't find them in a hardware store. And it's also, this is not a finite list. You have everything you need to create your own spiritual practices that support you, where you are in this moment, and nobody knows those better than you do. So just as we continually evolve, remember spiral dynamics? Unity does too. I think that's why they call it a movement, because it sure isn't stagnant, and hopefully we aren't either. The first thing that you're going to see on their webpage, I'll read it, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, explore these practical spiritual tools to nurture your divine spirit and create a more prosperous, healthy, and happy life. What practice or tool will you use today to grant yourself greater access to the divine power in you? That's a good question, isn't it? So the first up, we're going to talk about meditation in the silence. And hopefully you just experienced that. But there's so many ways to practice meditation. In Reverend Val's course that she gave us at our spiritual education and enrichment class, it was meditation for dummies. And we did everything from regular meditation like we just did, to walking meditations, to meditation using hip-hop music. There is a way, and don't feel bad if you don't succeed at first, and don't feel like you've just got to sit down. You can. I remember Reverend Richard Thomas telling me that the only way he could sit down to meditate was to either go play pickleball first or go for a walk to get the wiggles out, and then he could sit down. But some days that didn't even work for me, so I learned walking meditation. Whatever it is for you, there isn't a wrong way. Just know that and give yourself permission to be playful about it, please. Meditation allows you to slow your roll, to really get peaceful, and tune in to what you need to hear and feel. It's for you. It's a wonderful health practice. It's as good as a multivitamin any day. And the silence is right where you are. When you get into meditation and you quiet things down and the world falls away, your senses shut down, and you may not even know how long you've been in the silence, but you know you went there. When you come out and you feel like a different person, you feel revived, you feel rejuvenated, and it's like you've taken off the filters that you normally see life through. It is a life-enhancing experience. And Reverend John Bierman says, like a well-tended garden, time in meditation and the silence yields a powerful crop that will nourish you for a lifetime. If you eat from the fruits of your meditation practice, you will grow strong and be able to withstand the rigorous storms in life. Probably one of those most valuable tools that I've learned to use is forgiveness. And y'all, I really wish that were a one and done prospect, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes we get re-triggered by something that happened in the past. And it's okay. We know the work that we need to do. For forgiveness is the act of releasing ourselves from the bondage of an ongoing negative connection. Forgiveness resurrects our peace of mind from the perils of victimhood and releases our negative judgments. And to understand forgiveness, you also have to know what forgiveness is not. It's not about condoning bad behavior. It's not about saying that we have to trust those who've mistreated us. It doesn't mean that there will be no justice for bad acts. Forgiveness is a gift that we give ourselves. It's powerful, and there are wonderful classes, online classes that teach forgiveness. There are 10-week classes you can take that will be really helpful. So don't forget that one in your toolbox. And then one I hadn't thought about, but I think all of us have experienced, is looking clearly. Looking clearly allows us to see without the filters or lenses that we normally have in place. All of us go through the world with our lenses and our judgment and whatever else, our normal way of seeing the world. So it's really important to take those glasses off once in a while. Place those tendencies on pause and truly see and experience what is right around you. I can get lost in this beautiful wall hanging up here. I think it's gorgeous. Whatever it is, it's when that sense of awe is engaged. It's in the most mundane things. It's enjoying that cup of tea or coffee in the morning and really seeing it, enjoying it, and just being fully in that moment without the mind chatter taking us away. It's being willing to sit in awareness without judgment. If you've seen the brilliance of a sunset, or you've gotten a kick out of watching hummingbirds play around the feeders, then you've seen clearly. And when you realize, I think little kids do this all the time. I think that's why they're so in the moment. Or pets are the same way. We have to unlearn some of our things so we can experience seeing clearly. It invites us to be more alive, and I think that's why it's a good tool. Another helpful tool is creative work. Whatever that looks like for you. I mean, we have talented painters in this group. I know we have people who can sew and quilt, obviously. Creative expression invites us to touch inspiration, to be breathed by God. We can quiet our minds and not be attached to something looking a certain way. We can be playful. We can allow ourselves to be guided from within. And what my husband loves to say is go with the flow. I think of it as being that, losing all sense of time and just being so immersed in what you're doing that you look up and it's like, whoa, how did it get to be this time of day? So whether you're cooking a delicious meal or painting or dancing or designing and building a new project, allowing yourself to embrace and express your creativity is a powerful spiritual practice that supports every aspect of your life. The joy of being fully present to the creative process is a powerful way to connect with the divinity you are. And it's so fun. And then a few years ago, I took a really good class from Reverend Denny Ralston on journaling. I didn't know there were so many ways to journal, y'all. Mercy sakes. But the thing I love about journaling, whether you're doing it longhand or if you're like me, my writing is so bad I have to do it on the computer, it's okay. However you do it, it really allows what's in your subconscious to come out and flow onto that paper. And if you ask for what is niggling at you or bothering you, the answer can come out on that. And it clarifies your thoughts and feeling of your whole self, not just part of yourself. It allows new awareness through self-reflection. The insights that come through journaling might help us make choices aligned with source, choices that throughout time and with greater knowledge can bring positive change. Who doesn't want to create positive change in their lives? And what Denny taught us was to make it your own with sketches, drawings. Use your coloring crayons again. Make gratitude lists. Write down your intention for that day and ideas for project, things to do and places to go. Enjoy it. Social action is one that I was surprised to see here, and it's so good. They have so many good ideas. I really appreciate the talent that put this together. Social action is practical action by individuals or groups of people working together to help serve others to improve their community. It may be done to bring about social change. Here are some of the things, I didn't know all of these, that Unity Worldwide Ministries does. They join in community interfaith work. They celebrate Pride Month and affirm the inherent worth of all people. ordaining LGBTQ plus ministers and licensed Unity teachers. Many churches have earth care teams that focus on the environment. And did you know that UWM gives away Daily Word and other publications to prisons and hospitals? Yay for them. Maybe we can pick up on some of their ideas and follow through in our own community. Unity says this: social action requires that we engage with the conditions of our community or world. Something within us calls us to take action to make things better. That something is a divine discontent that brings with it a personal recognition that we have the power to transform the world, or at least our little corner of it. Sometimes it just keeps me sane. Social action becomes spiritual action when we pour our light into the darkness. When we pour our light into any condition or situation, we begin to see clearly what action we are to take. When our light illumines the darkness, we bring a spirit of transformation to our communities and to our world. Amen. And then here's one you may use and not realize it: a happy playlist. Reverend Elizabeth Mora found that it's one tool that can lift her out of a dark time quicker and better than others. As I said when I came up, music has a way of bypassing the brain and going straight into our heart. She soon discovered this playlist was more than just a collection of great songs. She says, it became another life-changing option for my spiritual toolkit, and it took on a very specific role. I've always enjoyed music, but this was different. This collection of songs specifically picked by me and for me hit my brain and heart like a laser. It was like getting a shot of the perfect pain reliever, and a wave of healing was delivered. So listen to your happy playlist and do dance like nobody's watching, and just really enjoy yourself and let that tension go out of you. Shake it off, right? And then there's a tool called spiritual visioning. And I think you've done one form of this maybe. Whenever we're picturing how we want our day to go, or we're daydreaming about that vacation that we can't wait to take, right? We can feel it, we can smell it. Well, it works because it combines two important aspects of a powerful spiritual tool: positive imagining and intention. If we can see it, feel it, smell it, it's going to come into fruition a lot sooner. And visioning is kind of like remember, we probably all made vision boards where we take pictures and inspiration from everywhere and make a new vision board for the year. That's really fun. And visioning is what enables our athletes to have much better performance in whatever sport they're in. So if they can use it to improve their skills, we can sure improve it to enrich our spiritual lives. And then maybe, to me, this is one of the most important, is self-care. Every one of us. I hope this is not a dusty tool in your toolbox, because you really need to be using it a lot. It's being willing and committed to rejuvenate your soul and find your center. It's a place of unshakable peace and stability where you can weather the storms of life. Being intentional in our self-care practice is the greatest act of love we can not only give ourselves, but to give our community and the world around us. We change the energy in the world when we practice good self-care. If you've ever requested a prayer from Silent Unity, or had a prayer chaplain pray for you, or listened to the prayers here on Sunday morning, we all know that that's affirmative prayer. In the Handbook of Positive Prayer, author Hypatia Hasbrook says positive affirmative prayer works because of the law of mind action, which means thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. So Denny and I co-taught a class, a self-care class, a couple of years ago. And what we came up with was self-care is not just about bubble baths and dark chocolate. Although those are very nice and they can be helpful, self-care, true self-care, is creating the life that you love, that you don't feel you need to escape from. And isn't that true? And we have the power to do that. Affirmative prayer, I think of as a form of self-care. It reminds us of the truth of who we are, that Christ nature that's within every daggone one of us. It allows us to pivot. I think of it as a pivot tool that allows us to pivot from that temporary condition or situation when we are experiencing the higher plane of truth. It helps us to come into alignment with God mind. That's the purpose, to push our own judgment, ego, whatever you want to call it, out of the way and get more in alignment so we can see the truth from that viewpoint. I would like to share some examples of affirmations that are meaningful to me. The gentle presence of Spirit guides and directs me. Even when I'm in trouble, even when I'm struggling, I can say that and I can feel that comfort from saying that. How about, I am whole and healthy in mind, body, and spirit. This week, I happened to notice a really beautiful sign-off on Reverend Rick McCollum's email. He says, I rise above all obstacles with courage and grace. Now, isn't that powerful? Thank you, Reverend Rick, for letting me use that today. And another thing that Denny taught me that I didn't know is, she told me to write on my mirror at home. And I thought, ain't no way. But she taught me that if you write with dry erase markers on your mirror, your positive affirmation for or your intention, whatever you draw a picture, who cares? I mean, whatever's meaningful to you, it comes off real easy with a Kleenex or a microfiber cloth. And it's right there for you. So have fun with that. And thank you, Denny. Please find out what works for you. You're worth it. You're worth the investment. It's worth enriching your life for. Hiking in the woods renews and refreshes me like nothing else. I just love it. Or sometimes I get all my nap tools, because I have special things I do, and I lay down and I take a beautiful nap in the afternoon. Find what joyfully replenishes your body and soul. And if you have a practice that's worked for you since you first were a child, keep using that and be thankful for it. If your inner wellspring runs dry, you can't serve yourself, much less anybody else. Just ask Peter what happens when my well runs dry. It isn't pretty. And lastly, next slide, homework, or what I call soul work. I encourage you to really think about like a spiritual foundation, like you would the place you live in. Just like that credit card ad quips, we are going to ask, what's in your toolbox? So whatever revitalizes you, whatever is good for you, you know and trust it. Are you the same person you were last year or 5 years ago? It may be time to take a look at your toolbox and try just one of them. See if something's interesting to you. See if you have any dust cover tools that need to be revitalized. And you might have a tool that might need to be rotated out for a while. And as my dad, who was a very gifted mechanic, been gone for years and years now, would always ask me when I got ready to try to do something, do you have the right tool for the job? So I encourage you to be playful, to be curious, and to be steadfast in this process. For truly, what do you have to gain? What do you have to gain? If you listen to Lavina's talks and gather your inspiration from that, they were two of the most wonderful talks and gave us tools that we know how to be more spiritually aware and more spiritually intelligent. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I wish you a wondrous life journey.